Have you ever heard this phrase, "I need time," and immediately felt like something was wrong? Is it really about time, or is it a subtle way of saying something deeper? In fact, 8 out of 10 people who hear this don't really understand what it means. And that's the start of a bigger misunderstanding. So when a woman says, "I need time," what exactly is on her mind? And how can Stoicism help you understand this more clearly? Let's unpack the meaning before you make the wrong decision. We've all experienced this moment. A short message, a few simple words, but the impact is huge. You start to wonder, is this a sign of separation? Did I make a mistake? Or is this just a temporary phase? In Stoicism, we are taught not to react impulsively to something beyond our control. But what if what's at stake is a relationship? How can we stay calm when someone we care about suddenly pulls away? Before we get into the true meaning of these words, we need to understand one important thing. When someone says, "I need time," it's not just about time, it's about something deeper. So how do we respond wisely? How can Stoicism help us make sense of this situation without panicking or overreacting? At first, you might think it's just a temporary break. Okay, he needs time. I need to be patient. But then, hours turn into days. Days turn into weeks. And suddenly, you start to feel like something's not right. Your messages start taking longer to be answered, or not at all. The one who was always there now feels more distant. You start to wonder, is it really about time, or is it a subtle way of disappearing? This is where the real dilemma begins. Should you wait? Should you ask directly? Or should you accept the worst? This is a moment that tests your self-control, tests whether you can stay calm in the midst of uncertainty, and this is where Stoicism is truly put to the test, because at the end of the day, the control is yours. Now let's get into the answer. And this is where it gets tough. You're faced with 2 big choices: keep waiting in hope, or start accepting reality. Number 1, illusion of control and painful reality. In moments like these, we often feel as if we can change the situation. If only I can say the right thing, maybe she'll come back. If only I had been more patient, maybe she would have changed her mind. But here's the harsh reality: we can't control others. We can only control how we respond to the situation. Number 2, what does he really mean? When someone says, "I need time," it can mean many things. But there's one common pattern. It's not about time. It's about unresolved emotions, confused feelings, or perhaps a decision that's been made but not yet expressed. Most people don't want to hurt directly, so they choose a more subtle way. But is that better or more painful? Number 3, how does a Stoic deal with it? A Stoic does not seek certainty from others. He creates certainty within himself. Step 1, accept reality. First, stop looking for answers that don't necessarily exist. If someone stays away, that is the answer. There is no point in forcing clarification from someone who is not even sure of his own feelings. Step 2, shift the focus to yourself. When we feel out of control, the best solution is to focus on what we can control. Exercise, work, hobbies, anything that helps you get back to your center. Step 3, don't overreact. The biggest mistake we often make is panicking, texting repeatedly, or asking for reassurance that makes us look weaker. When a woman says, "I need time," that's not a signal to wait without certainty. It's a signal for you to take back control of your life. Because at the end of the day, it's not her who decides the direction of your life. It's you. By now, you have reached this point. You've grasped the reality, accepted the situation, and started to shift your focus to yourself. But there's one big question that still remains. What if he comes back? Number 1, when she comes back, what should you do? Often after you've stopped waiting, that's when he reappears. Suddenly, she texts you, "Hi, how are you?" Or, I'm sorry I was away. And this is where you're tested again. Will you fall back into old patterns, or will you stay in control? A Stoic does not react impulsively. If someone returns, ask yourself, is this good for me? Do I really want it, or am I just afraid of being alone? Practical step. Step 1. Don't rush to reply. Give yourself time to think. Step 2. Ask yourself, what do I really want? Step 3. Stay calm and neutral. No need to show enthusiasm or anger right away. Number 2. If he never comes back, what should you do? And if he never comes back, it doesn't matter. Because at this point you already know one important thing. Your happiness doesn't depend on one person. Everyone who comes into your life has their own role to play. Some just stop by temporarily, some stay. But no one can take away your peace unless you let them. Number 3. Become a stronger person. At the end of the day, this situation is not about him. It's about how you respond. It's about how you build the mental strength to deal with uncertainty without losing yourself. Short takeaway. First, don't wait for someone who is uncertain. Second, don't let your emotions be controlled by others. Third, use this moment to grow, not get stuck in regret. At the end of it all, there's one thing you need to remember. Losing someone is painful, but losing control of yourself is much worse. Don't let one moment of uncertainty ruin the peace you've built. So from now on, stop waiting for answers from others. Start creating answers for your own life.